Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Steve Y, the Fix-It Guy. I'm Steve Yakshi, and for this edition, I'm in the garage to briefly show you how best to cut copper tubing and then solder it. To cut copper tubing, there are several different types of cutters. I've got a couple here. This one will work with up to 7/8 inch copper tubing and works well in tight spaces. This one here will work with larger tubing and is easier to use, but as you can see, it won't fit in tight spaces. For today, since we're using 1/2 inch copper tubes, we're going to use this little guy. Now, in order to cut this tube, we're going to put it in the cutter, and we're going to make sure that it's nestled right in between these two rollers. And then we're going to tighten it enough to where the blade is starting to cut into the copper. And then we're going to repeatedly rotate it, tighten it, until we get that nice clean cut that we're looking for. There we go. Nice clean cut. So today we're going to solder this 1/2 inch tube to this 1/2 inch coupling. But before we do that, we're going to need to clean them up. There's a couple of ways to do that. You could use emery cloth to clean the tube. It's pretty old school, but it's cheap. But I prefer this tool. We can clean the outside of the tube, both the 1/2 inch and 3/4 here. And then we can clean the inside of the coupling, either 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, with these brushes here. So this is worth investing in. So the way we'll do that is we'll first put the tube in, and then we'll just rotate it inside the brush. And you can see when we're done, that's a pretty clean tube now. And then for the coupling, we'll just take the 1/2 inch brush and we'll put it inside, and we'll clean that, and we can rotate it back and forth to cover more area. So you can see that's pretty clean now. And the one last step I like to do is just to take the brush and to clean the end of the coupling. So now that this is clean, it's time to apply the flux before we solder. And this is our flux. It's also known as solder paste. And when you open it up, you can see what it looks like. I've been known to apply this with my fingers. You can do that. However, for this tutorial, we'll use a brush. So we'll get some flux onto the brush. And then we're just going to apply it to the tube and get it all around the area that we cleaned. And then we're going to take the flux and put it on the inside of the coupling. Make sure we get it on there, and then apply a little bit to the end. And then we can put them together. And now it's time to solder. We're using lead-free solder. And you can see I've taken a length of solder and put a little bend in it, and that'll make it easy to apply to the tube when the time comes. To generate the heat, I'm going to use propane, and we're going to attach our propane torch. Propane torches are about $15 versus MAP gas torches, which are about $50. The MAP gas burns a little hotter, but for our 1/2 inch tube, propane will work just great. I've put our tube in a vise to make it easy to solder. Notice I've put the coupling on and it's upside down. We're going to solder this upside down, but that's fine because that solder is going to flow uphill and around. So I've lit my torch. Notice that we actually have two blue flames here. We have an outer blue flame, and then we have an inner blue flame, and the tip of that inner blue flame is what we're going to apply to the copper. So notice we're going to apply it to the coupling, and we're going to wait for that flux to start bubbling, and when it does, we're going to apply our solder to the opposite side of the heat, and we're going to let the copper actually melt the solder. There we go. I've cleaned up our joint so you can better see the solder. And as you can see, it flowed all the way around. Nice, good seal. That's how it's done. Soldering copper tubing is not as hard as it first appears. With a little practice, you can easily do it. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please hammer that like button. And if you really think I nailed it, then please subscribe, and of course, I'll answer any comments right away. Thank you.